All right, Danny, thanks so much for jumping on and joining me to talk through your experience, obviously, in our program, but ultimately to celebrate a $10,000 a month milestone with your business, which is absolutely incredible. It's happened like in my eyes so quickly, but at the same time slowly because of all the work you've put in, the stages you've gone through, which we'll go through in this conversation. But it's just such an awesome milestone to see the reward for the effort, the very deserved reward for the effort. So I can't wait to talk about it with you. But let's just start with from the beginning. The start of your journey. How before you and I met, what were you guys doing yourself and Pritch, your husband? And we can go from there about the point that you jumped in the program. Yeah, just want to do a little intro on yourself and where you were before we met.
Okay. All right then. Kia ora team. My name's Dani. So me and my husband, Pritch Liz, but I was a teacher. And we just wanted something different. I think after having kids, we realized that we don't have any family with us. So we emigrated out to New Zealand over 13 years ago. And once we had our children, I just realized that teaching for me and my kids wasn't really matching anymore. I wanted to be able to put our family first more. So yeah, we started a business, started a side hustle at the time. We were selling clothes, we were printing and selling clothes. And we'd just come back from an awakening of moving to Australia, finding out I was pregnant. And we came back to New Zealand and I got in touch with Will and was like, we need your help. um, so yeah, we had goals over the fact that I didn't want to go back to teaching. I wanted to be able to set up an e-commerce business, revitalize our business at that time, to be able to earn enough to stay off and stay at home with the kids. And we did all of this and we did grow it. It just wasn't growing fast enough for where we were. And then the economy sort of tanked a little bit where our bills were going up. So we knew we needed to pivot. We knew we needed to change. And I've always had a love for food. We both have. And we'd always had the idea of baking in the back of our minds. We'd started doing some content on it 2 years before. And I think it was just that nudge when we were there going, how are we making rent this week? How are we going to do that? Where we were like, no, we've got to do it.
Mm.
So we started the brownie bar, and the brownie bar started from a garage sale where I baked brownies for our garage sale. And I pretty much got DMs afterwards going, are you making more? Like, when can we get more of these? They were really good. And pretty much 2 weeks after, I got the kitchen registered and I did our first market and we sold out our first market. And that's where we started. And it grew from there.
That is so awesome to hear. I mean, yeah, starting from that passion of cooking. I mean, first point is the pivoting from the former business and getting to a stage where like a reality stage of like, yeah, look, as you said, isn't moving as fast as what we wanted to. Maybe lost a bit of love just given the amount of work you put into it and for the results
Yeah.
and things, and then to be able to say, yeah, what's the next option?
Yeah.
I may have spoken to you about it before, but before Carmick, the juice business, Sam and I say started, but we never made any money. We're in the coffee industry. We started a
Yeah.
coffee business. We weren't roasting, we weren't a cafe, we weren't distributing. We didn't really know what we were doing, but it was our first concept. And we got to a point quickly, thankfully, that we're like, nah, next thing, move on. And it was a very similar thing to what you just mentioned. Sam was actually drinking a cold pressed juice. He was doing a cleanse himself. He was a pretty hardcore cyclist. And we're just like, why don't we sell this stuff? And you're like, okay. And so, same thing with the sample size. We made some juice the next day. Sam texted some friends from his old work back at Macquarie Bank, and they said, yeah, we'll buy something. So the next day, immediate feedback, and they're like, okay, cool. Where can I get it the next time? So, that immediate market feedback is such a literal breadcrumb of like, yeah,
Yeah.
great, we've got something here. People want this. So that's,
Yes.
yeah, incredible. And so at what stage did you commit to premises? Because obviously you got a brick and mortar and you got the online side as well, which hit the 10K. But yeah, at what stage did you
Um,
get the brick and mortar?
we were pushed into it slightly. I don't think I ever told you this, Will, because we're currently renting,
Mm.
and our landlord found out we were using the kitchen to bake brownies, and it didn't go well. So we were pretty much on the ultimatum of if you want the business to continue, you need to find somewhere else to do it. So that pushed us at that point. We already knew we had a product. We were selling out markets every single week. So it was one of those where it was like, if this is meant to be, the right thing will appear. And lo and behold, here we are.
Mm.
We
Mm.
and it was one of those so it would have been 6 months. We were in after 6 months. We were sharing a kitchen with one of our friends in town who's a cordon bleu pastry chef, which was an amazing experience. Um, he was growing, we were growing, and very quickly we couldn't fit in the same kitchen as each other. So it all sort of made sense as soon as this place came up. And our landlord just said, as long as you don't knock it down, you can do what you want. I was like, okay. So we just tentatively did it. It was at Christmas when we signed the lease just after Christmas 2024.
Mhm.
And we had everyone on social media going, don't do it. Brick and mortar's not the way to go. Don't do it. I'm like, yeah, but it's not going to be the only way. It's not going to be the only thing that it's used for. We knew we wanted to do online.
Mm.
So, yeah, it's been the best decision we made because now we have our shop, which has a wonderful community support. We open 4 days a week. And then the rest of the time we're baking for online.
Mm.
So, yeah,
It's
six
it's
months.
so good to look. It's so good to look back at moments like that. Whereas you said it was pushed,
Yes.
positively pushed, of course. But
Yes.
you kind of you don't have to ask the question now. But it's like you're kind of like, well, would we have done something like that and taken what seems to be a really big risk? And then, as you mentioned, against conventional thinking, right? It's such
Yes.
a we have a lot of chats in the community and program about mindset and outside influences and stuff like that. And it's like,
Yeah.
you guys have such a strong mentality to be like, well, we've done our sums. We know what we're in for. And it's like, you know what, what's the
Yeah.
worst that can happen kind of thing. That's what really opens up the freedom to be successful, honestly. Because if we're so
Yeah.
tight and so stressed and so worried about what if and we're scared, then that's not a positive environment for growth at
Yeah.
all. And so, that's just credit to yourself and Pritch to have that mindset and mentality. If not now, when? And even if it and
100%.
look, even if it didn't work out, what a great story to tell, right? Like
Yes.
it's that sort of attitude that I see most commonly amongst successful entrepreneurs, and so I love that that's the case for you guys. And as you said, it's like, yeah, we've got the online side too, which is just hit 10K in however many months. So we'll talk about that, but it's incredibly fulfilling to see that and see how far you've come in a short period of time.
Yeah.
So with the online side, let's just talk a bit about the
Yeah.
strategy side of things. So what's been really good for you? How did you initially get the word out there? How's it grown to the levels it has so far? And yeah, what have you been doing marketing wise?
So to grow online, because we launched online last year, so that would have been, what year were we in? 26, 25. So
Mm,
November 25.
mm,
We we wanted to generate demand first within the shop and the market. So I was still doing the market every single weekend. And even though it was just around the corner from the shop, we got a lot of tourists that came through to the market and eventually to the shop once they knew where we were. And we knew with that it was going to create this fear of missing out because they would get hooked while they were here and then they'd leave and they were like, well, now what do we do? So we wanted to try and build a client base of people that were constantly in our little bubble, and we were waiting for as many messages as we could to start building up. Going, when's online coming? When's online coming? Like, right now, it's going to happen. Once we got the shop settled and we got our systems in place here, so we used organic for a while, and then pretty much once it was up and running, we followed your advice once we'd launched to then add in our bottom of funnel, our retargeting ads first. And I just started those on, and I think they're still on $10 a day.
mm,
And that really helped recapture people. To then help us grow beyond our community, we still do a competition every other month. And for us, we've used our social media channel because we've got a strong community of our local followers that love a competition. So it instantly gets pushed further and further out. Um, so that's worked really well for us as well. So we did an awful lot of organic. And then once I got enough money in to then start to test, we've done our top of funnel ads, which we've continued to scale vertically, and we just started horizontally as well.
mm. Yeah.
So yes,
That's
it's been lots of baby steps.
yeah. But what I really like what you said was getting validation at every point too. But
Yes.
the fine line between waiting too long and going too early, you've actually nailed the sweet spot with all of them. I mean, you could always say that we could go earlier at something, but at
Oh,
least just for your
100%.
own confidence levels, being like, yep, okay, cool. Now we've got as you say, half a dozen or a dozen messages, great, that's enough. If they're committed and they're going to buy, then let's start that online process.
That's
Okay,
it.
cool. Then let's get the packaging and the shipping, which we know, are beasts
Yeah.
within themselves, but you guys worked on it
Yes.
really, really diligently. And so, yeah, it's been an accumulation, I probably, of like all the experience with the other businesses that you've had, and up to this point, nothing is ever wasted with experience. And
No.
it's been, as I say, amazing to watch and hear all the feedback and see everything. And obviously we're just talking offline, about the next plans, but arguably the first 10K month online is the hardest. Like that's what I typically say to people, where it's the proof of concept and building up an initial customer base. And now it's just like momentum rolling forwards. Like, you hit 10K last month. And as you just said, you're probably going to get another 10K month. And I would be surprised. I'll be surprised if you didn't continue hitting 10K months as a minimum baseline moving forward, as you obviously perpetuate forwards.
Yeah.
Well, as we know, business is a bit like this, but we're going to continue to see that fantastic growth. And again, like we mentioned offline, it's so credit to the product for sure, that people love it, and they're coming back. And that's, you can't sell a bad product, is my opinion, at least not for long. But also you guys as operators, the more conversations I have like this, the more successful people I talk to, it's so much about the operator themselves, or
Mm.
themselves, if there's multiples, that matters, right? As I say, the decisions, the mindset, the persistence, like all those things that people talk about as cliches and whatever, it's just so true once you get to that level. That was one thing that I realized. It's like, yeah, all that stuff is true, that it pays off in the end. So that's been awesome to see. And as I say, like great to hear about the just really simple strategies that you guys were adopting, starting organic, adding some retargeting, adding some, cold audience paid, and it's going to perpetuate obviously from there. So just with the program, it's been awesome to obviously have you in. What have you found? I know you've had your head down and you guys, pop your heads in and out of the program, but specifically, what have you found the most beneficial about the program?
For me, I think it's been twofold. First of all, the first time round was learning all of the things, because we came into our first business never doing ecom before. So I think the first time round it laid all the foundations. The second time round coming back in with the brownie bar allowed me to then really hone in on what I'd already learned, and it just made more sense. I think especially the ads, definitely the ads has helped, even the email marketing and understanding what emails and where they go, and even just the timings of them, and understanding even this time around, like offers isn't just a sale, it's touch points. It's constantly going, hey, we're here. And like we do new flavors every month. So there's always a touch point of something new. And then now it's crafting offers to go, right, what's coming up next? Black Friday's coming up. It's our second birthday coming up soon.
Mm.
What are we doing for those, and how are we going to promote that? And I think the biggest learning for me is that little circle that you did, Will, where it's all the pieces together. It's not just one thing that carries it. It's your social media, it's your email marketing, it's your ads,
Mm.
it's the competitions you run, and they all interlink and they all run together to make that wheel that keeps turning and keeps generating your sales.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I think it's also that having that ability to go, I'm stuck now, I can get help, I know how to get help, I don't have to be stuck for long.
Mm.
Yeah, there's just heaps of things in there.
Yeah.
And yeah, just being part of a community of other people that are doing the same thing and have the same goals, and seeing the wins of other people, like it's really inspiring. It's really cool.
That's awesome. And typically the community especially, but the program itself is what you make it. And like I've said
Yes.
throughout this conversation, you guys are self starters, and they're the people in the program, in the community. We don't really let just anybody in. It's like, we know that we're responsible for ourselves. We'll give you everything that we possibly can to create your strategy and support you along the way with the implementation and scaling and things like that. But yeah, ultimately, you're running the show, and that's something that's been, yeah, hugely evident with your success up to this point, and we'll continue to obviously see that as
Yeah.
well. So that's awesome to hear. I mean, one last thing. I mean, having I'll call it absolute wisdom and experience being on this side where you are right now. And looking back to, the challenging periods where, prior to the program, things like that, like what would you sort of say to people who are back where you were, where it was challenging, we were thinking about the next, payments and things like that? Like what would you sort of say to people in that position if you can, remember what it was like, what they should do in their position?
I think it's do it. Just do it. I remember you said that to me when I spoke to you ages ago about I'm good at baking. I could do something that. And you're like, you just have to start. And I think that's it. You just have to back yourself enough to get yourself out there. And it can be like we did through a garage sale. It could be through a market.
Mm.
It could be like what you said to me with the juices selling to friends. It's just starting it and knowing that it's never perfect, but you just have to start and not wait until everything aligns. Just do it. I
Yeah.
think take that leap because you just never know where it'll take you.
Yeah, yeah. I love that. That's awesome advice. I mean, just start creating the momentum, right? Moving forward with
Yeah.
action. Because the
Yes.
person who stays on the start line and doesn't move and hesitates if they're going to make the right or wrong decision is way more hamstrung than the person that makes the wrong decision and pivots. But
Yeah.
chances are you just make the decision and run with it, commit to it, that it's
Yeah.
going to be the right decision. Or as I say, it's a very quick little pivot back to or adjustment. So yeah, I love that. Just keep moving forward, basically. Get
Yeah.
the
You
knowledge
have
that you
to.
need, build the skills that you need, get the support that you need. You don't have to do these things alone. And that's what I said before about, it's been so awesome having you guys in this community because you've been huge contributors, but also, huge support to others as well and motivators as well. Like it's just literal proof in the brownie, let's call it, that this stuff is and anyone can do it if you got the right
Yeah.
mindset, the right structure, the right strategy behind you, the right support, and that's what's been so amazing for me to observe. So thank you so much
Thank
for
you, Will.
sharing all of that, and huge congrats on the first milestone of many. Like I'm so confident of you guys moving forward. Like honestly, the hardest bit is done, and it's just about growing this beast, which is yeah, incredible. So I can't
Brownie
wait. So
beast.
yeah, yeah, brownie beast. So thank you so much for sharing that. Well done, and yeah, really
Thank you,
appreciate it, Danny.
Will.
Sure.
And
No,
thank you all your support too, Will. I really appreciate it.
no worries. No worries.